A referee's responsibility is to oversee the games we love, to ensure that the rules are followed. We all know it's a thankless job, and it's one that fewer and fewer are interested in pursuing. But at a time when the average tenure of a high school official is less than 3 years, Brian Rook is an outlier.
It all started back when I was in college. I started doing intramurals in junior high. Pretty soon I was doing high school and volleyball, basketball.
Rook has been a certified referee in South Dakota for a quarter of a century now, officiating at youth events all the way up to state tournaments. Being a ref isn't for everyone, but for the 48-year-old from Centerville, it's become a passion.
If you ask any official, we're not doing it for the money. We're doing it for the experience. We want to be connected to high school sports. We can still be an impact into the high school sports scene, even though we're probably thought of negatively on some aspects. But everyone that does it because they love it. And that's why we have guys that are 65 that are still reffing because they love it.
That love saw Brian routinely work 2 to 3 events per week in the fall and winter, more than enough to keep him at the top of his game while maintaining good physical health. So when he donned the stripes for a basketball doubleheader in Centerville on a January night in 2022, there were no warning signs of what was about to occur.
The girls' game was the first end of the doubleheader, and it was going to be a good matchup. About 3 minutes into the game, I had a neck sensation that I've had once in a while that would flare up, and it came up that one. Usually it went away after a while, but that night it didn't. And then about 6 minutes into the game, went down to the baseline. I felt tingling start from my toes into my head, and I went down.
Brian had suffered a heart attack, one severe enough to stop his pulse and leave him dying on the gym floor.
My heart did stop. People jumped in. I had 4 rounds of CPR in less than 2 minutes and an AED.
Thanks to the actions of those in the crowd, including Centerville school nurse Bruce Bennett, EMT Kelly Voog, and RN Terry Knight, Brian was revived, his life saved.
I mean, it was amazing how many medical personnel we had in the crowd that night and how they stepped in on a dime. I was back fairly quick. Woke up and was wondering what happened. And then I got to take an ambulance ride to Sioux Falls, and then a few days after I got into Sanford, I had open heart surgery. I had a valve issue that they took care of, and now I've been on the path back to health. There's no better place I could have been than in that gym that night. If I would have been out shoveling snow or out doing just regular routine yard work or something and dropped, I'd likely be dead. I was in the right place at the right time that night.
In Brian's words, open heart surgery is no joke, but thanks to support from the referee fraternity and a few months of rehab and recovery, he's found his way back onto the court with the whistle around his neck.
The biggest thing is probably the mental aspect of it. It was 3 months after my surgery and I was back there doing it. Probably a little earlier than I should have been, but I wanted to cross that hurdle and get back at it. First few minutes of it, I mean, it was a daunting experience thinking about that, but after I got the blood pumping and up and down the court a few times, I wasn't thinking about it anymore.
Brian's experience has led others to consider their own heart health, including one of the first to respond that January night in the Centerville High Gymnasium.
The school nurse that was the second one that did CPR on me, he reached out to me this summer and gave me a tingling experience because he said that after he gave me CPR, he didn't feel right. So he went in and got checked up, and his widowmaker was 99% blocked. So he said, my incident of almost dying maybe saved his life.
Brian's hoping more can be spared what he went through with the campaign he's begun to raise awareness for heart health. Plus, he's urged schools and businesses to check and maintain their AED equipment. In other words, he's using his new lease on life to encourage others to adhere to the rules. Sounds a lot like a good referee.
You don't know when it's going to be your last day. If I wasn't in that right place at the right time, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't be able to tell this story.
And joined by Alex Heinert. And one thing that we've talked about this story that's fascinating is in any given high school arena during a basketball game, there's going to be medical professionals there, and that was the case here, right?
That was the case with Brian. And yeah, most gyms you go into, you don't think of it. It's a pretty safe place to be with as many eyes and trained personnel that are on hand.
All right, Brian wants to get a message out there. What is it?
So he's teamed up with the South Dakota High School Activities Association to have referees wear red lanyards and whistles for the month of February to raise heart health awareness, encourage people to go get checked. He said a ton of his friends have gone in to get their heart screened. It's a smart thing to do, and it shouldn't take having a heart attack to make you go do it.
And keeping with the red theme, though, he is an SDSU alum, the Big Blue, but he's encouraging others to wear red, right?
So, and it ties back into the night when he had his heart attack. He had made a bet with a friend who was also a referee over the SDSU USD football game that ended in the Hail Mary the year before, that he would wear a USD shirt underneath his stripes the first time he reffed together with his friend. That happened to be the night that he has a heart attack. So he jokes, the last time I wore red, I died, but I'm doing it now for a good cause.
All right, great to see him back out there. Thanks, Alex.
Absolutely.
This has been Midco Sports Magazine, presented by Build Your Base with Beef Sports Nutrition and Training Program.